to the internet. 10 incredible reasons why listicles are irresistible to us. 5 unbelievable proofs that this woman is fooling you, the viewers. Now, on Shelium. Buzzfeed, particularly with regard to the Try Guys, is all over the news lately. But don't worry, this is not another one of those videos. Buzzfeed is very famous for something else entirely. Listicles. Articles or posts in list format are flooding the internet because they work so incredibly well. Why? Well, some of them just ride the clickbait wave so hard, we simply can't resist. But there's also a scientific explanation. Here are 10 science facts. Numbers are eye-catching. When we randomly scroll through an internet feed, we are flooded by images, text, videos. Before we can even consciously decide whether we want to click on an article or video or not, it first of all needs to stand out to us. Everything that's special, that's somewhat different from the rest, is eye-catching for us, which was even measured by eye-tracking experiments. Now, of course, it's becoming more and more difficult. No, it's nearly impossible in the internet nowadays to stand out. But nonetheless, it is a visual break if there's a number in the title instead of only letters, which in the first instance attracts attention. We love to group things together. We humans process information by splitting it up into smaller pieces, just like a list. Now, we can start a discussion about how much information really is in a Buzzfeed article. But in a first instant, even this blue backdrop color is information that your brain needs to process. We can't even test this quickly. How many dots do you count here? How many dots do you count here? And how many are here? How did you go about counting those dots? Did you count them one by one? I'm sure you didn't. More likely, you split them up in groups. Although counting dots is not a hard task, we use the helpful tool of grouping the moment we have to count more than 6 points. Splitting them in smaller subgroups helps us keep the overview. Lists or enumerations promise segmented information, presented in little bits, just like our brain likes it. But some numbers are better than others. The number 10 is particularly irresistible. We love round numbers because we often think in the system of tens or hundreds, similar to our beloved metric system. The fact we love the number 10 so much is also obvious in all ranking systems. Top 10, top 20, top 50, top 100. We don't want a top 9 or a top 11, even though it might be just as interesting. No, we love round numbers. This overlaps with the statistic from the earlier mentioned royalties of listicles, Buzzfeed. The number 10 is the most used length of listicles because it works the best. The second highest ranked number, by the way, is 5, which shows in the way we love to celebrate round birthdays and every half decade. And it is also why I lied to you today by saying I have 10 scientific facts, even though I only have 3. Screwed. Maybe you've noticed that the same point is sometimes mentioned multiple times within the same listicle, just slightly different phrased. I could have done the same to get to my 10 points. Apart from round numbers, we also expect from listicles with higher numbers that the actual points won't be very challenging to digest. If I have 10 or 20 facts, images or videos, I expect small, easily digestible fact snacks. Basically info to go. If I have only 3 points in a listicle, I expect them to be longer and with more detail and therefore harder to process. A listicle with 3 points won't just be 3 sentences or 3 images. But don't we want more depth than that? Nope. We love the stuff because it's easy. Of course, some of those listicles are dumb, but they are also easy, and we love that. Cognitive fluency, or sometimes also called fluency, describes the subjective feeling of how hard or easy it is for us to digest or process information. The easier to process something, the more fluent it is. And it doesn't need to be something like quantum mechanics versus a simple multiplication table, but rather something like a clear, simple image versus a convoluted image. And it is super interesting how fluency influences us. One study showed participants always the same sentence but different visually readable. If the sentence was easier to read, it was more likely perceived to be true. In a different study, companies making their debut in the stock market were followed. Companies with easy or fluent names were on average more successful than companies with non-fluent names. Listicles are extremely fluent for all the reasons from point 2, but also because they usually consist of very little text and more images or GIFs, and we love that. Higher fluency also leads to higher retention rates, so people tend to watch the video to the end or scroll the list all the way to the bottom. And on top of that, we also know exactly how many points to expect. What do you think? Do you love to look at listicles? Why do you think Buzzfeed and Co. are so successful with theirs? Would you have clicked on this video if I would have called it the science behind our love for lists? And do you find 10 points also more clickable than 3? Write it in the comments below, give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet. And in the end card, I'll bring you the 10 best Australian animal memes. Number 10. Don't mess with me, kangaroo. Number 9. Cool kangaroo. With a K. Number 8. Evil koala. Number 7. Sarcastic emu. Number 6. Fatherly kangaroo. Number 5. Surprised koala. Number 4. Bro kangaroo. Number 3. Punny emu. Number 2. Photogenic koala. And number 1. Sexy kangaroo. Yeah. Right. Anyway, I'll see you in my next video. Stay sciencey.